Hey, and you're looking at the semifinals of the Eternal Tournament Series. We're looking at BobertJoe, who is on Big Combrei, or sorry, Combrei Aggro.
Combrei Aggro. That's the exact opposite.
It's the opposite. Versus Felnscar. Shed is on Felnscar. Yeah,
this is actually a fairly classic matchup back in closed beta. At least as far as I remember, these were both decks that existed from way back in like when I started playing, which was like late August, and it seems to be they're still going pretty strong. Both of them has made a nice semifinal showing.
Yeah, and of course we see that Feln Bloodcaster with that really strong body to be able to block early and make it to those bigger mid-range plays that you would want to see. Of course, Shed has a lot of power in his hands. He's really hoping to draw a little bit more action here, possibly some more removal to go along with his Maiden.
It's not too bad for him to be high on powers, since he does have the necessary. He's 1 over, but he can activate his Feln Bloodcaster, which is a place where you kind of want to be.
Yeah, and that's the Tyrant. That's going to be pretty solid here. When he plays it, he'll gain 4 life because of his units.
Don't forget to Cudgel.
Yeah, that Cudgel. Let's see if he swings in after putting Cudgel on somebody, maybe. Well,
it's kind of dangerous to swing in because with that open mana, Bobber could be threatening. What do you call it? Scorpion Wasp. But
Scorpion
actually,
Wasp, yeah.
No, wait. Looking at Bobber's main board list, he doesn't actually have Scorpions in the main.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So I think it actually would have been correct to swing in.
Yeah, of course that was of course if he looked at Shed or Bobert's deck list before.
Bobbert only has Desert Marshal and Stand Together, 2 and 3 for interaction.
Yep. Again, Shed is looking at 9 power that he's drawn. A bit more than that is a little unnecessary. So,
and he is hitting this. This is slightly uncomfortable.
Another power, and Bobert is going to start scaling really hard into this late game here with that Seraph, unless there is a Suffocate, but he can't deal with the Seraph this turn, unfortunately, with that Suffocate. And he's going to be able to activate the Seraph before the Suffocate happens.
See what the dice rolls. Oh, the dice rolls in Egypt. Well, this game is about to get out of hand very quickly.
Possibly.
An explanation of what Ezye does is that she puts for 4 mana, exhausts herself, and puts out 4 mana. +4/+4 onto a unit. However,
yeah. All right. So sorry about that hiccup right there, but again, pretty big board on Bobert's side. We're looking at another conduit possibly coming down, and actually, with that armor he got, that's gonna be really scary to stack all that armor onto the current conduit that's on the field.
Yeah. So. Bobert's plan is now stack armor on the conduit until it's large enough to swing for lethal.
Oh, he's swinging right now.
Or just go for it.
He's going for the trade on the 10-10. Yeah, he can afford to do this because next turn he plays a 9/9 conduit and then buffs it up. That'll get through the other 2 very easily.
Yeah. So now Shed really needs to draw hard removal and not keep drawing sigils. This is gonna hurt.
Yeah, it seems
this
like
game will only get worse as it goes on.
Seems like he went for the 5/5 conduit. I'm not sure if that's quite the play, because of the fact that he traded Shed traded the Maiden for that copper conduit. He might have just wanted to wait to play a bigger conduit that then leads into plate being bigger than all of Shed's minions.
I think Bobbert's thought process is that if he draws anything that wasn't another conduit, he needs to he can't play conduit and that card at the same time anyways. So he would rather be able to have a 5/5 conduit that he could start armoring up immediately,
Yeah.
since it wasn't very safe for Shed to swing in anyways.
Yeah.
And there's the Death Strike.
There's the Death Strike to take care of that big conduit. Of course, he's waiting for Bobert to use his mana to stack another armor on before using it.
Now's a good time as any.
Again, it's taking care of the conduit, but the armor is still there, and that armor will cause a lot of troubles until it's.
That armor is only going to take over the game as the time goes on.
Yeah, there is a Reaper, possibly helping stabilize a little bit, but again, we have the silence from the Desert Marshal, kind of nullifying any advantage that possibly could have gotten Shed. And he's going to put the armor on the Scorpion, interestingly enough.
He wants to start getting in damage.
I just wonder if it would have been better to put it on the Student, so you had something bigger sooner.
At this point, I think Shed might actually... it didn't really make too much sense to put it on the Student, because he needed to put a lot of investment onto the Student to even make it not die or trade to another creature.
Yeah.
Versus if he puts it on the Scorpion, it's immediate pay. It has almost immediate payoff.
All right. Well, that's that block. Yeah, that will be enough to kill it. It seems reasonable.
Trading off.
Just one creature for the Overwhelm ability. There we go. He's got another Overwhelm creature to stack armor on. Shed really... I mean, Shed's already drawn 2 Death Strikes. He's just lowering his chances of drawing an answer. So he has about 4 answers left in the deck.
I also find it very interesting. He only attacked with the 13/13 instead of waiting.
He could have waited.
Yeah. If he did wait, it would have been much stronger.
Again, we did see the other times that Shed did draw the removal. Perhaps he just wanted to get the trade off with the big unit before Shed drew a kill spell. Because he knows he can continue buffing up his other units. It's better to try and clear Shed's board by threatening a lot of damage and not risk the losing a unit to a kill spell. Because that would waste a lot of time and give Shed a lot of opportunity to catch up.
I personally think Shed doesn't really have... Felnscar is not really known for coming back against a board that already outvalued him. So let me look up Shed's list real quick.
Shed's list does contain the Black Sky Harbinger, but I don't see any witches. I don't see any witches to combo with that, unfortunately. So he doesn't quite have that 2-card combination to get rid of BobertJoe's board. Even if he did, Bobert could just armor up one of his units to prevent from dying.
I think Shed's current out is that he needs to get a Feln Bloodcaster to take one of
again, the silence.
Well,
ooh, 10/10 Copper Conduit seems pretty good. But he's gonna be stacking up.
I think he armors first.
Yeah, the armor on that's pretty massive. That the double block won't kill the Sandstorm Titan here, so I think that's a pretty smart play.
Opting to double block killing the Mariston.
Trade. It's perfectly fine for Bobert in this scenario. And there's the 6/6.
Which is about to be a 10/10 Overwhelm. This somehow Big Combrei's best card has secretly been...
It's just a Ricano card the whole time. Big Ricano, right?
Surprise, I'm Combrano.
Big Ricano.
Turns out the best card in in Combrei is a Ricano card.
Yeah, and it's an armor card, so I love it. Anyways, there we go. Pretty foregone conclusion. Just took a while to get there. But it was pretty low chance of Shed getting out of there because he had to keep answering those giant units but he unfortunately couldn't answer the source of the chaos, which is the armor itself.
It felt really awkward because the one turn the Seraph got to activate was like the most key turn because of how incredibly high the one variance roll was. If it was like a super low roll from if it was a super low roll from Bobbert, if he rolled something like Idol, that would have Bobbert would have been in a significantly worse spot throughout that entire game.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. But we're going to siding now. So looking at looking at Felnscar mid-range Shed's sideboard, he's got some Charge Chain Flails, some Ruins, 3 Sabotage, Annihilate, Furnace Maids, 2 more Statuary Maidens, Smuggler's Stash, Black Sky Harbinger, a Maul, and a Zindal's Gift. What do you think he'll side in this scenario?
I'd really like the Maidens for against Big Combrei because the maiden like having Deadly trades up against a lot of what Big Combrei wants to do. Another thing that could be potentially be sided in, which would be really interesting, is Zindals.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah.
Zindals allows, at least from back in closed beta, Zindals shut down Big Combrei really hard. Since Big Combrei couldn't hold any of the harsh rules that it wanted to keep.
And it kind of shuts down the advantage you might gain from any Ascendants.
However, Bob is playing a more aggressive version, so I don't think Zindal actually comes in too well.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think so. It seems way too slow and seems a bit of a dead drud pretty often. But definitely, I think he'll side in the Annihilate. Just get rid of all those big units.
I kind of like the Ruin, because just for the Obelisk.
Yeah, he does run some Obelisks. Bobert does, yeah. So that also might be good. I don't think we saw any in that game, so it's only 3 of them. It really depends on how much he values having that. Perhaps the Furnace Mage is a little better just because it's a body, so it's relevant even if the Obelisk doesn't come down.
The Stash also seems like a okay play because, again, in this scenario, Felnscar wants to outvalue. Assuming assuming Shed managed to answer Seraph before it gets out of hand, Smuggler Stash allows you to significantly outvalue the Combrei player, which is usually where you want to be looking to do what you want to be looking to do anyways.
Yeah, definitely. But again, we are. Let's also look at, I suppose, since we're still waiting a little. Oh, actually, they're about to start. Never mind. So we're going to go into the second game here. Again, it's Felnscar mid-range versus Combrei aggro. Let's see what these starting hands look like.
Hopefully, Shed has a better hand this time.
So 2 stand-togethers and 5 power. It's 2 stand-togethers again. Bobert seems to have not been as fortunate this time, and Shed does have a pretty decent hand, so we'll see where this takes us. Fortunately, Bobert does have a way to get that justice.
It's not the end of the world for Bobert. He can still draw into whatever he needs. It is kind of unfortunate since Bobert's deck is actually more aggressive, at least in the matchup.
Yeah. I
also find it interesting Shed chose to play his Primal Sigil super early instead of trying to get a 4/4 champion of Chaos out as soon as he plays. But it actually does make sense since BobertJoe is in Justice Time, which does pack an absurd number of vanquishes for very good reasons.
Yeah, I think again, it might have potentially been a pretty good play to not play the fire there and instead played the primal and then played maiden so that the champion snuck under any vanquishes.
Of course, now see Bobert managed to get the vanquish. Has a 3/5 Aegis unit.
Yeah, it seems like okay. Feln Bloodcaster will be able to block quite well here. So Shed still has plenty of good options. We'll have to see which one of them he picks, though. Any of those 3 creatures would be pretty good.
All 3 creatures are pretty good in this on the current board state.
Yeah, Maiden will be able to trade. Maybe he'll do that.
I think I like Feln Bloodcaster the best because it gets the least blown out by Desert Marshal.
Yeah.
Statuary Maiden is a very strong play. It was like there was a chance that Bobert was holding Desert Marshal, and it wasn't very like Shed would have lost a very valuable creature otherwise.
If he played the Reaper first, it would have been relatively risky. I wonder. Let's see. He has a Varus favor to poke off the Aegis if he wishes, which is what he'll do. And Bobert does have another Stand Together, which can blow out any kill spells that are played by Shed. So he's not really too worried about his board getting wiped, or not wiped, but losing his 3/5 there.
It's also
he's going to do a proactive Stand Together. Seems fine since Shed doesn't really have any power.
Shed also kind of knew that Stand Together was there because he did cast a Varus favor, and Varus favor caused a pause.
Yeah, so let's see. There's a Lightning Storm going to be able to pop all the Aegis if he wants, but he won't do it right now. I believe he's probably saving it for kind of playing his removal in 1 turn to kind of surprise Bobert. That's
also extremely convenient. Valkyrie Enforcer drawn by Bobert.
Not bad. But we'll see what happens here. He could be. He's attacking with that. See if he can get a trade before he lightning strikes. I guess. Yeah, seems pretty reasonable. And that's not quite a trade. He was hoping, I guess. And there we go. Killing the flyer. And will he Death Strike this turn? Or I guess it's a fast spell. There's no reason to do it right now.
He can fast spell reactively to anything.
Yeah, definitely.
And currently, Shed does have a stronger board, even though it doesn't quite look like it.
Yeah, well, he has 2 cudgels, so that means if he cudgels 1 on each of his units, that will be pretty strong. But he's going to activate Feln Bloodcaster, so he just got some power there, unfortunately. Not very.
Setting up the good rainbow influence.
Yeah, it's good though. Yeah, he got there.
Kids don't do this at home. Usually, what you want to do is not reveal what you drew from your opponent.
Yeah, you know what? You want to make him nervous. Yeah, but
you want to make him sweat a little.
Yeah,
but
so
in this scenario,
yeah, probably. I wonder if he's gonna do a Death Strike. Nah, he's just gonna double up. It looks like the double block gets his choice.
Just kill both and get 2 more cudgels.
I wonder why the double block happened, to be honest. Oh, I guess that was a mistake. Oops.
Oops.
Seems like a big misplay. Oh, is he going to Death Strike that now? I mean, I'm pretty sure he knows Bobert doesn't have anything in his hand. Seems like... Okay, well, he got an Annihilate.
Now having both Annihilate and...
yeah.
It's a bit safer for him to now
use
at least the Combrei healer.
Again, I guess he just figures that he might as well save Death Strike for something more threatening.
Like a Seraph.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I guess
convenient.
It worked out in the end, yeah.
Bobert trying to think of which of his 6 emotes to use to express his feelings of
friendliness, right?
Perfectly. It looks pretty, and with the Temple Scribe drawing a sigil, looks cool.
Yeah. That really shows the strength that Felnscar can really get. You know, just a lot of value from the from the maiden just from removing creatures, turning your creatures into a stronger board for them.
All right, and now we will be moving on to game 3. Game 3 has. I guess at this point we could talk more about Bobbert's sideboard plan.
Yeah.
Looking at his sideboard, we have 1 Vanquish, 2 Stand Together, both 2 more Stand Together since he only runs 2 main. An extra Xenon Obelisk, an extra Predatory Carnosaur, extra Reality Warden, 4 Decays, the sweet Striking formation.
That's pretty
3
good.
Scorpion Wasps and an Hourglass.
Yeah, Striking Snake formation. If you guys don't know, because it's not a card you've probably seen in a while, or maybe at all. It's a 5-cost time card. Give all your units killer. So if he gets to a point in the game where he has just very big units, he can play that to get rid of his opponent's board and set up for a Alpha Strike on the next turn. That's pretty cool. Not quite sure what he's going to side in here, but if I had any guess, probably some Stand Togethers just for some more Aegis.
I think he sided in the 1 extra Vanquish simply because you need that you need the extra removal. I'll probably side in the Carnosaur as well. Some amount of Scorpion Wasps. Maybe the Reality Warden. I mean, he did. So since we can see it in his hand,
it's a 5-cost 7/7, right? So
it is a strong card.
It's pretty big at least, no matter what.
It does guarantee that you're very likely to have the biggest body on board. Which is I mean, you're paying 5 mana for a 7/7. While it might not be a 4 mana 5/6 endurance, other creatures can't fly. It does a pretty good job holding.
Hey, I must note, Titan has creatures can't fly or units can't fly. So when I was playing Cockroaches and he got flying, I'm like, well, I guess. Anyways. All right, so pretty decent hands for both players here. Bobert really wants that 5th to be able to play the Reality Warden. Just stuff the board with a giant creature. Seems pretty solid.
Oh, and an unfortunate moment for Shed where he can't cast his Furnace Mage, waves his mouse around angrily.
I wonder who has the. I'd say that Shed possibly has the edge right now, even though he can't play that Furnace Mage. Yeah, we get it, Shed.
I also think Shed has the advantage.
Oh my God.
Hey,
there you go. Yeah, you just had to do that. Perfect. Well, that worked out, right? He had to just.
Shed, if you're ever reviewing this mod, you are actually, in fact, the main cam. So we do get to see your mouse movements angrily dragging over, trying to cast your Furnace Mage.
All right.
Just for future reference.
Okay, but Bobert does have his 5th. I wonder if he's gonna play out the Reality Warden right now, or if he's gonna play out maybe the Reinarch. He's playing the 7/7. That makes sense. Now I'm talking about the Flyer. I didn't quite expect him not to do that. I don't know if he really needs the block. Well, I guess to threaten the 3/3s on the other side. I guess that makes sense. Oh yeah, probably better to hold up the Stand Together on the 2 power guys.
It lets his 2 power guys block up. Shed is probably currently thinking, what do I Death Strike or Annihilate? Turns out he's just gonna Death Strike the 7/7 because it is probably it lets the rest of his creatures get in, and also. I mean,
again, 5-cost 7/7s ain't too shabby in the end. Even though it's not,
they might not be
too much. Yeah.
Well, they might not be 4-cost 7/7s. 5-cost 7/7s are also quite passable for
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Shed now swinging in for lethal, which means BobertJoe does need to block at least something chooses to.
Pretty easy decision there, I would say. Maybe he definitely wants to hold up stand together to potentially trade a little bit more, or not
He
die on
couldn't
this next
actually
turn.
block with all 3 creatures because
Yeah.
if he blocked with all 3, he does still
Yeah.
die unless he's chumping.
Yeah, so it was the best play because now he can survive this turn. Again, it was
just died to.
Yeah, never
annihilate.
mind. Two instigators will win the game there.
Good work, Shed.
Oof, wow, that was pretty massive. So Shed does win that series, even though after that first game, it was not looking good for him.
It was the first series, to be fair, was won completely by Seraph. Thank you,
Seraph,
Direwolf
armor.
for making such a balanced card.
Yeah. We can argue that he should have just Shed should have Death Strike the armorer, but again, it was a very sticky situation. And it was very hard to make a decision whether to kill the big thing that was probably going to kill you or kill the thing that would continue making big things that were going to try to kill you.
The weakness of Felnscar, you only get single target removal.
Yeah, just about. Unless you're playing Witch Harbinger, but they don't have enough room to play enough of that to make it consistent, unfortunately.
And in any case, that is the end of this round. It's probably a good time for us to start wrapping up for the finals. We don't actually know what the final matchup is yet. All right, Cyber Rage versus Shed. Thank you.
Ooh, you gotta see some more of that sweet Rakano deck with the Navani and the Longhorn Sergeant.
I mean, sometimes it just wins a regular Rakano. We would have fun casting that. JayNite and I will have to bid everyone goodbye since we will be swapping casters for the finals.
Yeah.